Pedro, and we're here at the API Days conference running the Scalar collaboration with the API Changelog newsletter called Behind the APIs. Today I have here with me Daniel Kocot. Daniel is one of the Async API ambassadors, and he has more than a decade of experience in API design and also software architecture. So he brings a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to the table. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hello, Bruno. Thanks for having me. So, yeah, I'm part of the Async API community and parts of other communities, but this is my role on this API day so far. So, I'm part of the ambassador program. Yeah.
Nice. I know that one of the topics you're very passionate about has to do with API gateways, and it's something that many people like to talk about, and I'm sure they have lots of questions. And I think one of the questions that a lot of people would like to ask you is, what do you think about having business logic inside an API gateway?
Yeah, it's actually part of my whole API life story there. So it started actually 2018 being with in a partnership with Kong, or starting it up in Germany. So we were the first really looking at this, and Kong was the rising star at that point. Nowadays we have even more gateways available and even proxies and so on. And it's still a fact. So what we see is actually, I even did it in my talk today, or even talked in my talk today about the gateway becoming the next ESB, so in a second version or third version. So people putting all the logic that's actually part of or just needed for the API to make it quite simple, and then we have everything in the gateway. So we know that gateways have the possibility of using the usage of plugins and extensions or whatever it's actually called, but the question is this really needed?
Right.
Is it needed, or do I just have the need of a barrier so that it's just protected and the effects come later, or that this is how we can really handle this?
Right. Good point. But in your opinion, is there any type of logic at all that you can add, or it's good to have inside the gateway at all?
Actually, the simple stuff. So when I do a simple transformation from JSON to XML or XML to JSON, this can be actually part of the gateway because it's no real business logic. But when I really have the logic in regards of security, authorization, or anything like that, it shouldn't be part of the gateway. That the gateway has to decide who is actually capable of using the API. So it's really not displaced there. So it should be more related to after the gateway, or maybe with some help from an IDP or something like that, not directly in the gateway handlers there.
Right. Cool. So all that other logic that does not sit inside the gateway, I know that one of the terms you use for that is API capability, right? So can you tell us a little bit more about what do you think about API capabilities?
Yeah, I can do. We worked in a lot of projects in very big enterprises. So we hit always the stage with enterprise architects, and they are actually not on the level to really see the technology side. We hear a lot of times the terms of middleware. So really the old days are coming back there, or still there. And when I think about enterprise architecture, it's always about capabilities, what I want to have actually for the business to be provided, and not so deeply on the technology side. So this is actually where the term comes from. So there is no new thing. It's really the capability, what the business wants to achieve, and this is, for us, it's the starting point to really go from that, and then go more on the technical level and going there actually. Yeah.
So you always start by first understanding the needs of the business, and only after you have full understanding of that, you try to translate it into actual implementation or more technical oriented documentation.
Yeah, in the end it's about, we use the API Ops Cycles methodology for that, so it's really filling out canvases that even are capable for non-technical people to understand what they actually want to achieve, or what the consumer side wants to have from us, to really learn from each other and see, okay, this is what is needed, or this is something we can provide, or this is something we cannot provide, and we need third parties or anybody else involved. So really learning from the perspective of non-technical people, not really going into, they said they want this, so they want to have a REST API.
Right.
And then we are in technology, and you know what happens then.
Right.
The rubbish starts, and we end in the technology disaster or chaos in bit parts. So.
Yeah. And that's a very interesting point. You know, the let's say the style of the API, or you know what the API exposes, and so on. I know that you're also one of the co-author of a framework for identifying, you know, the type of API and where an API sits, you know, with respect to what it provides or what it exposes. It has to do with quadrants.
Yeah.
Can you share more about that?
Yeah, I can go into that. So we developed the so-called data interface quadrants, because we saw in projects that we are not really capable in being measurable, saying, okay, the story behind is actually totally easy to explain. We had some kind of project to deal with so-called core APIs, so really raw data APIs. And at the end of the project, one stakeholder asked us, what do you have achieved? And we said, yeah, we have 120 APIs developed over 1 year with the things we built up here. And he was like, oh yeah, that's nice. And then we thought, what was actually the goal? Oh, the goal was to have more data related product APIs, and we looked at the APIs and said, okay, they are not data products. So we really had more use case specific ones, and was really like to say, okay, we need some kind of measurement for that, and there was nothing at that point, so we were not really aware of anything. And this was the start of the database interface quadrants. And the more you talk with people, you more do projects in this direction, you more get into this quadrant that you have the 4 quadrants, going into the discussion, saying, okay, do we have data APIs? Do we have somehow more related APIs to developers, bringing front ends to the top, so the back end for front end style? Or do we really have data products where everybody is dreaming of in the end that can be reusable on the side of APIs, and then we have the composed ones that we really build on purpose, but we build them for be reusable in the whole organization, not for just the tiny part we are actually now in, so really reusable in the whole organization. And that's the thing behind the database interface quadrants, to really make this, I would say, visible, measurable, to really make clear, okay, in which direction we go. And we use it now directly from the start, saying, okay, what is actually the purpose of your API? Where do you want to go with this idea of having the API? Okay, you want to have a data-related API, but just internally in your bounded context, then you can do this, and you don't have to be afraid of putting so many things directly up front, but you should build it with the next step in mind. So this is also something a lot of people then really reflect on, and spend time directly from the beginning in building this data product APIs.
Interesting. So as far as I understand, so on the left-hand side of the diagram, you have all the data-oriented types of APIs, and on the right-hand side you have those types of APIs that somehow expose something else that is not mirroring the data model itself. And can we call those things that are exposed by those APIs, for example, composition services, can we call those things the capabilities, or are they something else?
Yeah, capabilities are actually the stuff in the upper corner. So when we talk about the data product platform things there, so this API is more data related, really related to data set, not really, little bit aggregated, but not that far aggregated, but being able to be reused by people. And then we have the real use case stuff, so that we really can see on the other side, this is the stuff that can be reused. It's well prepared, so it's already in production with others, and I can really use the stuff and don't have to think about, okay, I have to build something on my own, which Then I take these two data product related APIs and build my composed one. No, that this is already ready to be used by others then. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. From what you've been seeing, from your experience, what is the quadrant where most people build their APIs in? So are you seeing more composition services, backend for front ends, data APIs, or a mix of everything?
It's difficult. So what we see most of the times is that we're still in the lower quadrants. Everybody wants to have an API as a product, but you know it on yourself. It's hard actually to get there and convince people because we are in this business and it has to be fast. And if I start really, it's hard to really move fully into this as product type of thing. So most what we see is somehow hitting the upper stuff, but most of the things are really on the ground level, and then people are really, disappointed because they say, nobody's using our stuff, because it's maybe not good described, it's not really well prepared to be reused, and so on and so on. So again, this is then a journey, and the data phase interference quadrants will help guide you on that journey and see, okay, I'm more here, but I want to go there. What I have to do, and this is then type of consulting we do with customers to really get to move up on the next axis to really say, okay, I want to be reusable, I want to be more composition orientated, then I have to do this and build everything around that, and then the whole story gets this round thing and it really is present in what I want to have achieved actually.
So the ones that are, let's say, on the upper quadrants are those that are more prepared to be consumed by external entities, for instance.
And it's always a definition who is external. So it could be even inside a company, another department could even also be external because they are not in the bounded context. When we go into the domain-driven area and take this description and say, okay, they are not in our context, they don't know what we are actually dealing with, but they want to have our data. So we prepare everything specialized, and when people understand this, it's an easy move to get from the upper level to the from the lower level to the upper level actually. But it could also happen that you go from the upper level to the lower level because you missed something there. So it's in the end it's a complex thing. So it's not easy. It cannot be done by using a tool. It's really learning and really adapting what you see, and maybe listen to people at conferences like API Days and take something with you and then say, okay, I heard this. I cannot do this right now, but I'm on a track or on a way to really move in this direction. I think this is the main important thing to really that people need to understand, not that they have to achieve something, but that they make themselves on a good way to be able to achieve this.
Right. And I think many people and many companies are on their way to trying to achieve that. Thanks for sharing those very insightful thoughts. As you could see, Daniel's experience in API design and also architecture show in the way that he answered all the questions. So thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome. Bye.